The arts and spirituality. Now, I'm sure you all know that in terms of working with the arts, like with anything else, we always have to set an ideal. And not only Casey, but others, and from within our own souls, we know that to really serve the creative forces or God, that in our work, as artists, as performers, as writers, as musicians, as whatever, we have to serve the higher powers within ourselves. Appearances to the contrary, neither our ego or the desire for fame or fortune may enter in, though they may come. But they need not be part, or should not be part, of our motivation. So we have to achieve a level of desire, because desire plays a big part in this, and motivation and purpose that can only come, I think, by us attuning ourselves to the highest and seeing ourselves as servants of the Most High. That we become, and I love this phrase, I don't know where it came from, that we are priests and priestesses of the Most High God. That, to me, is the role of the artist, especially today. Now, there probably never was a time when higher influences were not needed on this planet, and there never was a time when art did not serve in that way. And I'm sure most folks here in this room are aware of the Casey readings and other readings that relate to how the arts were used for this incredible purpose of raising our consciousness, making us aware of who and what we really are. And as a result of that, bringing about civilization, a civilization that was in itself, in and of itself, transformative, but brought about almost a second paradise on this earth. And to my way of thinking and my understanding, I think we are on the threshold of doing that again, in spite of differences to the contrary in the exterior world. So today, as I see it, the role of the artist, the sacred artist, is so important. There's some exciting stuff happening, as we all know, in the sort of marriage of science and spirituality. And I remember this time last year I attended a marvelous conference at the ARE at Easter time on science. Anybody was at that science and spirituality, that conference? Okay. But it was exciting stuff. Really, breakthroughs are being made, and there's more going on that we don't hear about. A lot of stuff, it takes a while for it to kind of get around. But there is exciting stuff going on in that realm. Now, at the same time, we have in the artistic field some really great things are happening as well. And we have artists and young artists realizing that what art is all about is spirituality. And of course there are many great mentors around, teachers, who are enabling those folks to come along and fulfill their purposes as priests and priestesses of the Most High God. This is a poem. Poetry, I think, probably was the earliest influence on me, poetry, as an art form. And soon discovered I wasn't a poet in the traditional sense, but poetry always speaks to me. And just like music, I think we find that poetry and music especially speak directly to the soul in us. And here's a poem that is something of that. Could we but hear the green voice everywhere, the gift of life inheriting the land, the feel like Lot, the pulse's strong command that moved him. Without backward glance, an heir whose heirloom was rebirth to higher fare. Could we but hear and see where we now stand, no longer blind nor deaf, we to take Lot's hand. Could we but hear the warning in the air? Each one, like Lot, is singled out to be in time uplifted into higher spheres, is warned to look ahead as Sodom dies, to heed the love within the angel's plea that speaks through all the centuries of years, to open deafened ears and sightless eyes. Here again we have this wonderful artist, poetess Margaret Sherman. Many of you are no doubt familiar with Khalil Gibran's great work, The Prophet, in which he addresses many aspects of the human existence. And if you recall, he talks about the artist and the role of the artist. And in this way he says, and if there come the singers and the dancers and the flute players, I have their gifts also. For their gifts, so fashioned of dreams, is raiment and food for the soul. Now, referring back to what I said in my opening gambit, that if we are receptive, the artistic expression, both as a participator or as a receiver, can really help us raise our consciousness. No doubt in my mind at all about that. My approach has been in the theater, and as a writer and as an actor and as a director, and I've very often seen extraordinary things happen in that sphere of expression, where individuals are totally transformed, completely transformed by the process of artistic expression. And you have to wonder, what happens here? How does this take place? That an individual that I was talking to just a moment ago, and I had a certain idea of who that person was, gets on a stage, has a script, and suddenly they are totally, or seem to be totally, somebody else, expressing themselves in a way in which I would never have thought they could express themselves. I mean, you look at somebody, a classic example would be somebody like Pavlova, the dancer, this diminutive little lady got up on the stage, and she would just blow your socks off by the way she danced and who she became on stage. What's going on here? Transformation is taking place. Powerful transformation is taking place. Now, we think that the actor or actress today is, and with some justification, is just pretending. And in many ways that's true. We are just pretending. But we are all actors and actresses in a divine drama on a stage of life. And if we could only get the awareness of our ability to create in the moment, in the drama in which we are living, according to the ideals that we hold, okay, we would absolutely be transformed as individuals. My other hat that I wear, work in, the area I work in is in transformational psychology, sacred psychology, transformational psychology. And it's a combination of both integrational psychology and also the creative process that I'm aware of from my work as an artist. And through that I've experienced and seen how we can, as individuals, in the everyday practicalities and conditions and circumstances and challenges of our lives, bring our creative ability, this wonderful gift of the imagination, which, William Blake, I think, really hit the nail on the head when he said, imagination is of the divine. And imagination is kind of, we put it, that's for kids, that's kid stuff, Imagination is of the divine.